team preview. Next on NBA TV.
It's over! It's over! For the first time since 2004, the Timberwolves are headed to the NBA playoffs!
We welcome you to the NBA playoffs. It's the number 8 seed in the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves, facing number 1, Houston Rockets.
The Timberwolves have struggled mightily against the Rockets.
The horn will sound here at the Toyota Center in Houston, and the Wolves season has come to an end.
And so it was a learning experience for the young Timberwolves, or the Timber Bulls, if you will, because there are many of Tibbs' old friends, and yours, Booze, as we look at the depth chart. And how good was it for you to see not only Derek play, but when he got there to really show, hey, look, he could still go, especially offensively?
Oh, D Rose looked great. You know, he came back, he was healthy, he got a good mindset, played terrific, gave him a huge lift off that bench last year, and very impressed.
You know, when you look at these young players, they got a good young group. How much do you see the veterans playing? Because we saw the situation, I go back to Chris Dunn with his year with Tibbs, where he didn't play, and then he gets over to Chicago and we start to see him grow. Are we going to see these young kids get some minutes?
You know, if Jimmy was there, I would say probably no. That's just kind of Tibbs playing rookies. But I think without Jimmy Butler, you look at that two-guard spot. I mean, yes, Derrick Rose, we got a chance to see him and T play a lot together, but I think you're going to have somebody with some size, whether it's Bates Diop or you use Josh Okogie. One of those guys is going to have to be in the rotation, I think, to help out a Jeff Teague, to help out a Andrew Wiggins, and also Karl Anthony Towns. And they need some guys that can stretch the floor and knock down some shots. Jimmy could do that as well.
You know, Teague is like one of these, and you mentioned it before, he's like a forgotten guy. Whether when he played here in Atlanta, everywhere he goes, his numbers are always just under kind of where you look at an all-star point guard, and maybe doesn't get enough credit for all the things he does well.
No, he's an unsung hero. Very good young player, shoot the three, does a good job running the team, doesn't make too many mistakes, a good pick-and-roll player, very solid, knocks his free throws down. He is kind of the forgotten man, but he's a very good player.
Smitty, when you look at this team, it's hard to look at the depth chart because we know Jimmy Butler is there. He may not be there. So without making everyone sad, but still needs to be asked, if it was as it's shown on the screen, how good could this team be?
You saying with or without Jimmy?
With if
Jimmy.
It was with. When you look at this the way it is here, how good could this team be?
You look at that team, they got a chance to be an 8 seed. Obviously, you ran into the Rockets, but then you add some younger guys and Bates Diop and obviously Josh Okogie, but then they get another year under Tibbs. You bring in another Tibbs guy and Lou Aldang. I think this team had a chance, and obviously in the West it's hard, to maybe be the 7th seed. And that's not no disrespect to them going up 1 seed because of the West with LeBron James they hadn't, because he'll be a playoff team with the Lakers. And then now you're building with some young guys. I thought they had a good chance and a good future.
Yeah, between the Lakers and Denver, who just missed out, and the bottom of the West going to be difficult to get spots. Go from the bottom to the top of the board, where there is certainly some loyalty now with this team, and that is Karl Anthony Towns. And I know you guys want to talk about, we always talk about it's positionless basketball, but where do we see him? What's attached to Karl Anthony Towns?
Well, I think
for
me, and that's the reason why I want to ask Booze, because obviously Booze has played that 4 or 5, and you look the way we're playing now in the league, Booze, and you take a Karl Anthony Towns, and guys are playing next to him, he'll probably be starting Taj Gibson. What's best for him offensively, Booze? Do you play him at the elbow? Do you play him on the block? Do you throw him back to basket? Do you want him facing up, or you want him more pick and roll?
Yeah, the great thing about Cat is he's very versatile. You know, he can go inside and outside. He's shown to be able to hit the three a little bit in a pick and pop situation. But for me personally, if I'm Tibbs, I want him to occupy this post. I want to go a little bit old school.
Take me through it. Do you want him just back and post it up?
Yeah, just turn 5 like they used to do with Shaq, like they used to do with Dwight when he was in Orlando. Just catch the ball and operate in here. Just go to work. Do your moves, do your up and unders, do your fallaways. And if they do bring help, you got plenty of playmakers around. You got Derrick Rose who can penetrate. Jeff Teague can hit the 3. You got Tolliver come off the bench for Taj Gibson, hit a 3. You got Andrew Wiggins doing whatever he wants to do. So you got guys you can throw the ball to, but make them defend you one-on-one down here. And then you can always play positionless basketball, do the pick and pop for the 3, go to the elbow, isolate, face up. But I want him to dominate down here like they used to be when you and me played.
Well, when you look at it, Booz, is he a guy that, you know, he doesn't have the girth and the strength of you? Do you want him just posting up a turn 5? Or do you want him on the move catching?
Yeah, both. I want him like pin down screens. Like, remember the play used to run for KG? Where they would do like a cross screen right here, KG would rip down into the post, catch the ball, and be on the move. He could face up, he could shoot the jumper, he can catch it out here, face up and jab a little bit. Cat has that same similar style where he can face up and move a little bit, get a big guy off the dribble, and his size and his touch, he can back him down a little bit, get to right here, and do a nice soft baby hook shot too. So you want to put him in positions to be successful. Just like we talked about over on the table, we want him to get 15, 20 shots a game. And obviously, if Jimmy's not there, that's going to go up. But if he is there, you can still get him a nice 15 touches around the paint.
Hey, no, Booz, they run so much high pick and roll right now. And I just want to ask you, because I'm old school, what is wrong with having, a Jeff Teague and Karl Anthony Towns running a side pick and roll?
Oh, it's beautiful.
I know everybody wants the spacing, but wouldn't you think you're having a Karl Anthony Towns kind of similar to you that can shoot it and post up? You don't feel good. Now you can backing down.
Yeah.
Versus, I think right here, everybody's popping to this three-point line, and he has to shoot a three.
Yeah.
Or to dive in a row is so hard sometimes because of the spacing. And they don't have great three-point shooter.
Right.
You think it should be more side pick and roll or high pick and roll?
I agree with you. That's why I think Karl Anthony Towns has to be a throwback guy in today's game. I think you put him on the box, you put him in a side pick and roll, just like you said. You let him isolate in these three areas. You got the elbow, the block, and this area right here. Let him operate. Pick and roll, catch and go. You can dribble handoff. You can get him on the move. You can because he's also 7 feet, so his size is a great advantage on most teams. So for him, you want to put him in positions to be successful.
A lot of things have changed. You know what hasn't? Have off-season, will travel. A lot of the players did that. If you don't believe me, social media showed us a lot of that during the course of the off-season. For example, D. Rose abroad. He'll be back in the Twin Cities trying to get Minnesota some W's. We'll look at some social moments. The starters will weigh in when we come back. Over the offseason, how about the cat Karl Anthony Towns working it with his feet? He used some hands too at Atletico Madrid, getting ready for the season. But will he be and should he be the #1 option, even with Jimmy Butler on the floor? The starters break it down.
Trey Kirby and Tass Mellis of the starters here with you for the next point on the Minnesota Timberwolves. True or false, Trey? The Wolves are better off with Karl Anthony Towns as their #1 option.
I think it's true, but you kind of have to take a long view of the team for that to be the case.
Sure.
Last season, Jimmy Butler, clearly the #1 option, and I would say their best player. Made a huge improvement to the team, but if you're going to move forward and if you're going to actually challenge for championships, I think it's going to be with Karl Towns as the #1 option for the Timberwolves. The guy is a centerpiece offensive player. He can score from anywhere on the court. You can definitely build an entire offense around him. And I'm also excited to see a chip on the shoulder season from Karl Towns. We've seen him respond to criticism before. He would get slammed for his defense, then come out and play really hard on the defensive end for a couple of games, and then maybe the same sort of thing would happen. He would respond again. He's been called out basically all summer in the media via Jimmy Butler and just via other media, So I think we're going to see him come out and be super fired up to prove, yeah, I'm a #1 guy. I got paid like a #1 guy, and I want to show that this is my team. I'm taking it over. I am a big-time Karl Anthony Towns fan, and I'm hoping that a chip on the shoulder season is exactly what he needs.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think every single GM would give him this max contract 100 times out of 100 times.
For sure.
At the same time, yeah, he hasn't led this team into the postseason, without Jimmy Butler. He hasn't been able to be a #1 guy. But you look at his numbers, out of this world at 21 and 12 plus a 3.5, with Jimmy Butler beside him. So what can he do as #1 option? Probably even better than that, I assume. And, I think the expectations were just extremely high for him coming out of
Definitely.
1 year of Kentucky. The Tim Duncan comparisons were a little rough. And maybe he can beat Tim Duncan now that he's had, like Tim Duncan had 4 years at Wake Forest. He's had 1 year in college, now 3 years in the NBA, and maybe he can grow up a little bit. I'm just doing math. He's Tim Duncan because of math. But I do think long view, yeah, he's got to be the #1 guy on this team, and maybe he understands the defensive end a little bit better like Tim Duncan did at some point, in this next year or two.
Yeah, 21 points last year on just 14 shot attempts. I don't think it would be out of the realm of possibility that he gets back to the 25-point-per-game mark pretty easily.
And he shot over 40% from three. Ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
All right, that is it for us. More on the Timberwolves coming up. And if you want more of the starters, check us out weeknights here on NBA TV throughout the season.
All right, gentlemen, great stuff there and an intriguing question. So I'll throw it to you guys. Smitty, true or false, the Cat needs to be the number one option?
Well, I would say somewhat true. And the reason why is with Jimmy Butler, I don't get into this number one option. He has to be that guy. If Booz is my number one option, that doesn't mean he has to be the number one scorer because they could be doubling him. I think number one option is your main objective is to draw double teams and make plays for others and get yours. So can he be, should he be? Yes. But I don't think you don't have to be when you have other guys on your team.
Yeah, I think it's true as well. And to Smitty's point, I think at the end of the day, Karl-Anthony Towns is going to have to play big minutes, score the ball, create double teams, make the right play, whoever the pass is, whoever the cut is. But at the same time, even though he's going to be averaging 20-plus and 10-plus rebounds, those other guys are going to have to step up in a major way for them to have success, especially without Jimmy.
And take more shots.
Yeah.
Those numbers that they were breaking down, take some more shots. We'll take a shot at predicting in our crystal ball because it'll really matter. What's going to happen this season? More or less, and we'll do it with that face when we come back. Recent history for the T-Wolves. Well, last season, a good one, clearly. First time in the postseason since going back to the 03-04 campaign. Numbers under Tibbs, not where they'd like to see him. Who plays for Tibbs this year? Not exactly an answer we can give you. So why not predict the unpredictable then? And give you in our game more or less how we see the T-Wolves this season. Smitty, the total I'm giving you is 40.5 wins.
I'm going, as of presently right now, I'm going under for sure because I look at it right now, the Lakers have gotten much better. I think Denver is better. And all the teams have gotten better. Without Jimmy Butler as of today, whether he's there or not, I'm saying under 40.5.
Booze?
If they don't have Jimmy, I'm going under. If they have Jimmy, I'm going over. So we'll see what happens.
Well, this doesn't make it any complicated.
Sorry, guys.
We'd have like two different shows and two more or less. If they have Jimmy Butler, true or false, they're a playoff team?
I would go true. Will they make it? It's the West. It's the West.
If they keep Jimmy, they're a playoff team.
Yeah, I think so. If Jimmy's there, you know, he's in a contract year, he's going to be motivated, the rest of that talent, they make it.
Hasn't been traded yet. Do you think there's any chance?
I think he's
gone.
He's
gone.
I think he's gone.
Regardless.
I just don't know when, but I think he's gone.
Regardless.
I think he's traded this season, too.
You would hope if you're sitting there, you're the T-Wolves, he'd stay long enough till the deadline so
if
you
you're
get some value
you got to try to talk him back into him. You get some Derrick Rose and Luol Deng in charge to say, hey, come on, just give us a shot.
You got to talk to ownership to then be able to talk.
Well, that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different.
That's for another show. We'll predict what will happen there another time. Be interesting to see what happens with the T-Wolves. The Jimmy Butler situation continues. You think before the season he gets traded?
I will predict.
Go ahead, predict.
The owner will trade Jimmy Butler.
Well done. Well done.
You can keep up with the T-Wolves throughout the course of the season right here on NBA TV. For Booz and Smitty, I'm Stern. We'll see you next time from our studios in Atlanta.